Dear viewers and subscribers, my dear parents and my dear students, today it's a great session today from biology subject. So we are going to introduce from our academy 20 questions which is so expected this year, in which it is going to air coming 13th of this month. So you want to learn the expected 2020 from biology subject from a great IITL, Mr. Satya Narayanan. So today you are going to learn expected 2020 questions in 4 videos. So in the first video today, we are going to learn the first 5 questions from expected 2020. So let us go for the session with the Satyanarayan sir. So are you ready for the session, sir?
Yes.
Yes, let us go for the session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we expect a lot of such questions in NEET exam. We are going to present here some questions which are most likely to appear in the NEET exam. So the first question goes like this: the Bt toxin is not toxic to human beings because of. Before I go into the details of this question, I want to tell you that Bt toxin is a substance that is being taken from bacteria which are living in soil, and they got a natural ability to kill insects present in the nature. So this bacteria which is producing this insecticidal protein is capable of destroying insects not only present in the soil. The gene that produces this protein is incorporated into plants. When it's incorporated into plants, the plants can produce this Bt toxin, and then it is effective against those insects which feed on these plants. So this kind of plants which are genetically modified with this Bt gene are called the Bt plants. The one which is introduced into cotton plant is called the Bt cotton, and we are going to see how this Bt cotton is not going to harm human beings, because human beings are not target organisms, and how we are protected against this toxic protein which is called endotoxin. It's basically called endotoxin. The question goes like this: the Bt toxin is not toxic to human beings because the pro-Bt toxin activation requires temperature above human body temperature. The second option says the Bt toxin recognizes only insect special targets. The third option says the Bt toxin activation requires pH lower than that present in the human stomach. And the last one says conversion of pro-Bt toxin to Bt toxin takes place in highly alkaline conditions. So let us look into each of these options. The pro-Bt toxin activation requires temperature above body temperature. It's not true, because the body temperature is not going to harm the Bt toxin's conversion from its protoxin to active toxin. So temperature is not the criteria. The second option says the Bt toxin recognizes only insect specific targets. It's not like that. The protein which is toxic can even affect human beings. The reason why it's not affecting human beings is the toxin requires, for its conversion from protoxin to active toxin, it requires a pH which is highly alkaline. This highly alkaline pH beyond 7 exists only in the gut of insects. At this highly alkaline pH, the protoxin gets converted to active toxin. So this is the place where the toxin is effective at higher alkaline pH. Therefore, the third option is also not suitable. The pro-Bt toxin activation requires pH lower pH means acidic pH. The toxin is not going to get converted at lower pH. The conversion takes place only from only at higher pH, or in other words, it gets converted only in the alkaline pH that exists in the insect gut. So the correct answer is option 4 is the correct answer.
Yeah, this is the first expected 2020 NEET 2020 examination in which we are expecting this important question. Please kindly note this question. So the question, just I want to repeat it. The Bt toxin is not toxic to human beings because what is the answer? The answer is conversion of protoxin to detoxin to Bt toxin takes place in highly alkaline conditions. Note this first question. You will be finding so much happy when you are going to see this question in the coming NEET exam this time.
Yeah, let us go for the second question. The study the following statements regarding organic farming and select the correct ones. Organic farming, as you all know, it's a way of natural way of growing plants without use of any chemicals, any pesticides, no use of chemicals, and it's almost like an eco-friendly way of cultivation. Is called organic farming. Basically in organic farming, we don't use any sort of chemicals, either manufactured or synthetic chemicals are not used in organic farming. So the question says, uh, study the following statements regarding organic farming and select the correct ones. It utilizes genetically modified crops like BT cotton. Of course, BT cotton is genetically modified, so we don't use any genetically modified plants in organic cultivation. So the first option is ruled out. The second option says it requires only naturally produced inputs like compost and biofertilizers. This is going to be the correct option because it uses naturally produced inputs like compost. Compost is an organic fertilizer which is made out of decaying of all this agriculture waste, farm waste, insect debris, etc. It's called composting, and compost is a in other words, compost is a organic manure, and it also uses biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are those naturally occurring organisms like Rhizobium bacterium, Azula anabina, which improves the nutritive level of the soil. So they are called biofertilizers. They include cyanobacterium, Rhizobium bacterium. Then we have got a vesicular robuscular mycorrhiza called VAN. So all such things are called biofertilizers. So second option appears to be more related to organic farming. Let us see the third option. It does not use pesticides and urea. Even this option holds good for this question. Why? Because pesticides and urea both are synthetic and they're not being used in organic farming. So this also is relevant to this question. The fourth option says it produces vegetables rich in vitamins and minerals. There's no guarantee that when you grow by organic cultivation, it's not essential that you get vegetables rich in vitamins and minerals. We are not modifying the original status of the crop plant by organic farming. So this is not relevant as far as organic farming is concerned. Of course, when you grow a already improved plant, then it's okay. But in organic cultivation, we don't guarantee the production of vegetables rich in vitamins and minerals. And so therefore, among the options given, those options which are suitable for this question are option 2 and option 3. 2 and 3 are relevant. So therefore, the answer for this is option C is the answer for this.
Yeah, the question number two, the expected 2020 coming NEET exam, you're going to, it is so possibility of the for this question to be asked in biology. So let me study the question. Study the following statement regarding organic farming and select the correct ones. So sir has clearly explained you the answer. What is the option? The option is it is C 2 and 3. Let me go for a click. Please write down this question because it is so expected this year.
Let's go for the third question. This is a master following question. Correct column 1 and column 2. Sigma factor, capping, tailing, coding strand. Column 2 has 5' to 3' initiation, termination, 5' end, and 3' end. Sigma factor is a protein factor that's involved in initiating the transcription process. So for A, it is the second, the column 2. Capping is the process where the fiber end gets connected to a guanosine with a guanosine. So it's called capping. Capping happens at the fiber end. So B is connected to 4 in the column 2. Tailing is the process where a poly tail or polyalkylation takes place to the 3' end. This is also a post transcriptional modification. It happens at 3' end. And the last one is the coding strand. The coding strand refers to 5' to 3' strand on a DNA molecule. If you see a DNA molecule which undergoes transcription, the one which is oriented in 3' to 5' direction is the one which is actually getting transcribed. This strand is called template strand or non-coding strand, whereas the other one which is not at all getting transcribed or copied is called the coding strand. Therefore, the coding strand is the one which is oriented in 5' to 3' direction. So the option is B is the option for this question. Option B is the answer for this question.
Yeah, the third question in biology. So it has been clearly given in the table column. See the table column 1 and column 2. So already the sir has clearly explained the question. Sigma factor, capping, training and coding stand, and it has to be matched with the column 2. So what is the option? Please note it down. This is most important question for the coming NEET 2020 in which you are going to attend coming 30. So this is the option for this particular column. It is B. A is 2, B is 4, C is 5 and D is 3. Kindly note this question.
Let us go for the fourth question which is expected for 2020 NEET exam. The question goes like this. Number of meiotic divisions required to produce 100 zygotes in angiosperms is A 125 meiotic divisions, 100 meiotic divisions, 200 meiotic divisions and 250 meiotic divisions. As you all know, meiosis is the basis for formation of gametes, particularly in angiosperms. There are two events that are taking place during the gamete formation: microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. Microsporogenesis leads to the formation of pollen grains, and megasporogenesis leads to the formation of what is called embryo sac, also called megaspore. What is interesting here is during microsporogenesis, during each meiotic division, we get the 4 functional microspores. In other words, all the 4 microspores formed due to meiosis, they act like pollen grains. Whereas in meiosis, though there are 4 megaspores produced, only 3 disintegrate and 1 will be functional. So therefore, we need to consider only 1 meiotic division gives only 1 functional megaspore. So for getting 100 zygotes, there should be a participation of 100 microspores or pollen grains and 100 functional megaspores. To obtain 100 pollen grains, as we know that there are 4 pollen grains produced in each meiotic division, for getting 100 pollen grains, 25 meiotic divisions are enough. Whereas when it comes to embryo sac formation, we need to have 100 meiotic divisions to obtain 100 functional megaspores or embryo sacs. So therefore, the total number of meiotic divisions required both in microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis is 25 plus 100, 125. The answer is 125. Option A is the answer. Let us go to the question number 5 that is expected in NEET 2020. The question goes like this: Simonogamy is in angiosperms means tube-like male gametes. Option B, motile male gametes. Option C, male gametes produced in a tube. Option D, male gametes are carried in a tube. Let me explain you what is siphon. Siphon means tube. Gamete means fusion. So when male gametes are carried in a tube before they undergo fertilization, it's called siphonogamy. So the option is male gametes are carried in a tube for fertilization. This is the correct option. So answer is option B.
I hope you have enjoyed all the 5 questions which is expected for the coming NEET 2020. So kindly note down of these 5 important questions. You are having a great chance, 100% chance of getting 5 questions in which you can score 20 marks. So I expect you everyone enjoy this session very well. You are going to have one more session immediately after this one video. You are going to see next 5 expected 2020 in biology. And before ending this first session, don't skip the My Video channels completely. Please see all the videos completely. Subscribe my channel, which is so important for the channel to develop, and give a like for my channel. And thank you very much. We are going to meet for the next session. Bye bye.
Thank you.